Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Kaspa. I'm not a financial advisor. Anything I say is strictly my opinion, and you don't have to listen to what I say. You have to do your own research, guys, before investing into crypto. Now, let's jump straight into the charts. So zooming into the daily chart, and we'll take a look at the weekly a bit later, but right now, zoom in and we'll see what's going on here on a shorter time frame. We have a very nice EMA squeeze. As you can see, the 20 EMA bounced off the 55 EMA, and this was a very nice buying area for you. So when you were below the 55 EMA, that was an amazing opportunity to accumulate. From those August 2023 prices, basically last month, you're up approximately 50%. And yeah, this was a very good buying opportunity. We can also identify a support block over here. If we draw a support block like that, you can see, there we go. So that's based on this local high in April 2023, this local high in July 2023, and the same resistance that we retested here in September before pumping. So obviously this is not something that I would be buying right now. We are in a massive uptrend. Kaspa is basically breaking all-time high prices. So you can see we did print this initial high in September 2022, and ever since we're just pumping and pumping and pumping. This thing is not stopping, and usually when something like this happens during a bear market, we have an explosive bull market for that coin. So I think Kaspa will be performing very well during the bull market. Now the question is, where are you going to be entering? Because that's a very important thing. At entry is very important. You don't want to be buying, somewhere here, or just buying randomly, basically poking your finger into the sky and saying, hey, I'm going to buy over here, because you might as well just accidentally buy at this price over here, and who knows, afterwards you might see a major pullback, a 50% pullback, and then you'll go and say, hey, crypto's a scam, I'm going to sell at a loss and I'll never come back. So to avoid anything like that, you have to understand what's going on. So we are printing a nice uptrend. So you have higher highs and you have higher lows. Now on this shorter fractal here, if we zoom in and take a look at this area, you can see that we have a potential double top pattern, which is when you have two tops that are almost identical and you have a neckline below, and the neckline is basically the local low that you print in between the two highs. And in this instance, the neckline is sitting at 0.0333 cents. So if you were to continue with this retracement and you were to lose the 20 EMA, you were to lose the 55 EMA, and then you were to lose this support block, this orange support block that we have, there is a very good chance you might end up retesting the 0.033 cents area. Now, if you are going to be retesting that, there's a chance that you might lose it, right? Because when you lose a support level like this one, like this orange support block, you're going to have another target to the downside. And when you keep losing support levels, you have more targets to the downside. So let's say you even lost this level here, you lost the neckline. What we can do then is we can set a target to the downside. So we take a trend line from the top of the pattern here, and we drag it all the way down to the bottom of the neckline, and then we place this trend line at the potential point of breakout. It really doesn't matter where the breakout is because the neckline is horizontal, so it's always going to have the same target. And the target is basically determined by the end of the trend line that you're placing here. So you're going to be looking at 0.0219 cents. And again, we're talking about this target only if we lose 0.033. So from where we are right now down to that neckline, you have a 30.4% move to the downside, and to the bottom of that potential target, you have a 54.5% move to the downside. So this is a hypothetical, but this is something you want to be looking at. Obviously, there are other major resistance levels you're going to be, or support levels you're going to be breaking below while you're on your way to that technical target, if it does actually play out this way. As you can see, we have this low in July, we have this local high in June, so all of these are going to be important levels for you to hold. So you do have a level around the technical target here. This is the July 2023 bottom. So all of these prices are important. You can set up buy limit orders on all of these levels. Just make sure you don't have any round numbers in your buy limit orders. And, you know, if we have a flash crash, whatever happens, you're always set up with those orders and you get filled up even if you're sleeping. That's very important. And of course, if we have a major black swan event, obviously all altcoins and even Bitcoin are going to be crashing down, so we don't really know where we can end up. But you do have this massive area below here, between 0.012 cents down to 0.00937 cents. So that's a massive support block. And if you were to lose all of these major support levels, that's where you would find yourself potentially bottoming out if we had some sort of a massive crash. But I don't think we're going to be getting there unless, you know, there is a black swan event, of course. And the daily RSI is very close to the overbought. So that's another indicator that's telling me to wait for a bit. Now, we don't have any bearish divergences at the moment. That's something to understand. In this instance, we did have a bearish divergence, as you can see, and I think we covered that during one of the live streams where you had higher highs in the price action and lower highs on the RSI, and that ended up, you know, with this downtrend that we had with this short-term dip, and then we bottomed out over here in September. So I would wait for at least, you know, a retest of 0.033 cents before buying into Kaspa, because for me, there are other altcoins that I'm looking at right now. Obviously, all of that is available on my Patreon, 7-day free trial, check it out. And there are other altcoins that look better in terms of buying prices, because Kaspa has been pumping, and since October 2022, Kaspa went up 3,660%. That is a lot. So I don't really want to be buying into something like that right now. Now let's switch over to the weekly chart. And before we continue with the video, I quickly want to mention my Patreon that's linked down below in the description. If you enjoy my content, you want to get more exclusive content, and you want to support me at the same time, definitely feel free to check out the Patreon, because you're going to get a 7-day free access on my Patreon and an instant access to all of my content since October 2021, which is when I started. You'll get access to content like exclusive weekly podcasts, and we're starting to invite guests already. We have 40 plus low cap gem posts. We have a bunch of project reviews. We have a bunch of resources that are going to help you save time and make more money with this upcoming bull market. So this is definitely a great exchange of value for the both of us. And once again, there's a 7-day free trial. Feel free to check it out. You can leave anytime, and let's continue with the video. Alright, taking a look at the weekly, we have a fresh, clean chart here, and obviously you can see there's a lot of volume. There is a lot of volume coming in, and that shows strength. So in this case, we would take a look at the 20 EMA, and you can see that there are constant bounces off of it. We did have a slight move below it, and as we covered on the daily chart, this was a very good time to be buying, because when you are losing the 20 EMA on the weekly chart, that is a good buying opportunity, because you're losing a massive support level, you're continuing with a downtrend, there are potential more targets to reach down here, but it's typically a good time to start averaging into the project, because if you reverse for whatever reason, you're already in position. And this is exactly what happened over here. If you bought in, even with 20% of your portfolio or 20% of your allocation for Kaspa, you would have already been up here, and you could have taken profits. So the 20 EMA is our bull market support band. So effectively, Kaspa is in a bull market of its own at the moment. And we don't really want to be setting targets to the downside here, because you're not really losing any support levels, because you have to be losing massive support, strong support levels to have targets to the downside. In this case, we're just breaking above resistance, we're printing higher highs. Now, something that I do want to point out is the fact that we do have a bearish divergence on the weekly. So let me show you where is this divergence. And this is a pretty strong divergence here, and you could say that it has already played out, and we did see this pullback here, which was a 37% pullback. So potentially we've already seen this bearish divergence play out. We have the, the pullback, the retracement, and now we're just moving to the upside. But what I think could be happening here is that we're seeing a potential ABC. So, we saw this initial, we print our all-time high, and now you're looking at a potential ABC, and, the C wave can take us as low as the 55 EMA here. And this is just a hypothetical, obviously, but I think this is a very large bearish divergence, and I think just a few weeks of a pullback is not enough for this to be considered, a completed pattern. So I think this pullback has only started. We're going to print this lower high, in my opinion. We're not going to, really break above. Obviously, anything can happen, but this is me just assuming and seeing it at what's going on here, is that you're just having this bounce off the 20 EMA, and you're going to see the C wave, and the C wave can, take you down potentially to this April 2023 low, which is at 23.5 cents. And, we're going to be losing the 20 EMA. Maybe we do it just briefly, just like we did back here in May and June. As you can see, just like we did there, we might have something like that going on over here, where we have a deeper pullback. And that's where I would be looking into entries, possibly. But, if I'm not filled up with all my other positions, I wouldn't be even looking at Kaspa, because it has been pumping so much. If you didn't buy, in 2022 here, then you don't really want to be looking at it right now unless there's a deep pullback. The stochastic is also sitting in the overbought already, so that's another indicator for you to look at. And just think, maybe we have to wait for a pullback here. Maybe we have to wait for things to cool down, and maybe they will cool down, maybe they won't, but you don't want to take the risk of buying in and just seeing the price crash. So you have a June bottom here. And as you can see, this was the perfect time to be buying. So we want to wait for something like that over here, in this area. So we want to wait for the RSI to drop down. We want to wait for the stochastic to drop down. And potentially we want to see a bearish cross on the MACD confirming a downtrend. So all of these indicators will tell us whether it's a good time or not, or whether it's a good time to buy or not. But as of right now, everything's telling me to wait, because we're kind of already getting a bit too overextended. Also, one could argue that we're already printing a falling wedge pattern here, or sorry, a rising wedge pattern. I'm so used to falling wedges because we're in a bear market for 2 years, but a rising wedge is typically found in uptrends, as you can see, and we're at the very top of this uptrend here, so we might be looking at a potential rising wedge pattern. And as you know, the closer you get to the apex, the more chances you have of a breakdown, and the breakdown target is going to be all the way down here near the June bottom, which is at 15 cents. So basically what happens is that you continue in this pattern, you get squeezed up in the apex, and then you drop down and you slowly make your way down and you retest that technical target. Now, you could go lower after that, or you could just bounce from there, but usually you do retrace and you do touch the target, no matter what you do afterwards. So that's something to understand. And, as long as the volume keeps coming, maybe we won't even see this low retested. Maybe we'll see a drop down and then reversal midway through, and we continue with the uptrend. This doesn't mean this is not 100% guarantee, but this is definitely something to keep in mind. So thank you all for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of Kaspa. Did you buy into this project before, or did you, enter sometime in 2023? Let me know what are your entries, and let me know what are your long-term targets for Kaspa. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and have a great day.